Ram trucks built to serve.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to First Things First. I'm Jenna Wolf alongside, my bosom buddy there, Nick Wright. We both decided neither of us were going to change this morning. We battled it out, and here we go for the next hour. Kevin Wild's also with us. Nothing makes Nick happier. And Greg Jennings with us this morning. Woo, we are all set, ready to go. Hey, tonight's the draft.
Greg, you're the only person on the show I like today. Greg, you're the only person on the show I like today. I want that stated at the beginning
Nick is claiming he owns Sharpies.
Wild's trying to get on my corner. Wild's trying to get on my corner on the Sharpies. I've been doing this for 10 years. Jenna's trying to get on my corner with the sweaters, even the color. Greg, it's you and me against these insurgents. Jenna, go ahead. I'm already upset.
We're already off the rails. I love it. Well, mission accomplished. We got Nick fired up, so we're ready to go. Hey, how about this? Nick Wright calling Nick Saban a liar. We'll get to what that's all about. And confessions from Rob Gronkowski. Let's just dive in and start. It is our rewarding performance sponsored by Capital One Venture Card. What's in your wallet? Here we go. Rob Gronkowski spoke for the first time as a Tampa Bay Buccaneer yesterday, shedding some incandescent light on his former team. When Gronk was asked if he would have considered returning to the Patriots had Brady stayed in New England, Gronk said, quote, "It would have definitely been an opportunity I would have looked at. Playing with Tom is something special." Nick, it certainly seems like the Patriots could have had Brady and Gronk back in New England if they wanted to. Do you think this is a move they might regret?
I don't think they're going to regret it because I don't think Tom Brady has much of anything left in the tank. However, if I'm wrong, then obviously this becomes a move they massively regret. I believe in Bill Belichick. I believe that Bill Belichick, having watched Brady every practice of his career, every game of his career, made the correct evaluation of Tom Brady. But Patriot fans like Kevin Wilds don't believe in Bill Belichick. They think Brady still has a lot left and that Belichick made a grievous error here. And we're going to see who is right on this. But can you imagine if in the late 90s, Jerry Jones looked at Emmitt Smith and Troy Aikman and said, fellas, you know what? We've had enough. You're the two greatest players arguably in franchise history. We are moving on from you. And then those two guys signed up with the LA Chargers and took them to a Super Bowl, what that would have made Jerry Jones look like. If Jerry Sloan said to Stockton and Malone, you guys have had your run, you're finished, and then those two guys went to the Dallas Mavericks and led them to an NBA Finals, that is what is on the board if you buy the Vegas hype that the Bucks are the fourth best Super Bowl odds for the Bucks to do and how that would make Belichick and the brain trust, which is Belichick, look. Now, Wilds, I don't think that's going to happen. I think the Bucks are a quarterback away from being a contender. But if Brady's as good as you believe, Gronk still has a lot left, then of course this is a move that will reflect poorly on Belichick, and I think that Pats fans will regret that he made.
Okay, so first of all, I'd like you to put down the Sharpie because Sharpies are my thing, okay? I've got Sharpies. You've got points. Maybe you go in another direction there. So I'm going to be the Sharpie guy. Let's just get that out of the way right away. So
then can
Nick,
I be the orange shirt
trying
girl?
To make Sharpies and the orange shirt. So Nick had a thing earlier this week. He's like, I'm going to make a catchphrase happen. Nick, what was your catchphrase?
Old people be lying. It was in relation to the
he was like, I'm going to make this a thing.
Be lying.
So I'm like, oh. Yeah. If we're going to make catchphrases happen, I'll make one happen. I believe in Belichick, B-I-B. Whatever Belichick wants to do, I'm okay with it. And here's why. I'm prone to sentimentality. I mean, Tom Curran wrote that the Crafts were prone to sentimentality, and I read it, I was like, you know what? I am too. Whoever you want to bring out there from the olden days, old Patriots, if Richard Seymour wanted to come back, I'd be like, you know what? He's got more left in the tank. Vince Wilfork wants to come back. I'm like, let's do it. We need Vince Wilfork back on the team. So part of me, when I'm not going to criticize Belichick, and I realize that these decisions where I'm like, man, I wish we had Brady back. I wish we had Gronk back. It's like, is that the right football decision, or is that just me being prone to sentimentality? But there is one way we can meet in the middle tonight, well, not tonight, but later on in the draft, Thaddeus Moss. How great would that be? Give him number 81, have him line up at tight end. We need a tight end. Caught 2 touchdowns in the national championship game. Didn't drop a pass all year. We know that Belichick has got his own son on the coaching staff. Robert Kraft has his own son on the ownership group. I think it would be perfect, and it would get both of what I want. Some nostalgia back, and we get a tight end, Jenna.
Okay, so all kidding aside, BIB aside, you know, Nick's right, and Kevin's sort of right. Belichick watched Gronk for years. Belichick watched Brady for years. If anyone knows what they have left, besides probably Gronk and Brady, it's Bill Belichick. So he made the decision to move on. Maybe there are no regrets. What do you think, Greg?
You know, when it comes to Bill Belichick, I don't believe he has any regrets. You look at the decision he made a few years ago in the Super Bowl to sit arguably one of the best cornerbacks in the game at that moment in those big games in Malcolm Butler. He said, we can win this without you. And they almost did. Had they won without him, no one would have cared. No one would have cared about the decision. They would have thought it was genius. They did not. So the only way that this comes back to really haunt Bill Belichick and the Patriots, and I don't think he still would regret it, is if the Tampa Bay Buccaneers go out and win the Super Bowl. If they don't, the decision he makes still looks good and okay. This is kind of like ripping a Band-Aid off of a wound that's not really healed yet, and then Gronkowski is the salt being poured on the wound. When you find out we could have possibly had both of them back, because now Gronk decides to come out of retirement. To Wild's point, the sentimentality plays a role with fans, and they are looking like, what are you doing? We could have had both of these guys. We could have done it and relived our heroic times all over again. But that's just not the way Bill Belichick thinks. He understands how to win games. He's always understood how to win games, and he knows what pieces to pull and to move. So I think they're going to be fine. He's not going to regret it one bit.
Okay, and all of this whole argument, Nick, is assuming that Brady and Gronk are going to show up in Tampa Bay and seamlessly just fit into the system or create their own system and take off running. But maybe it was Bill Belichick that was the glue with all of that. Maybe, I know all the complaining they had about Bill Belichick, maybe that was the reason why they were able to be so successful. There's no guarantee these two are going to hit the ground running in a new system on a new team. You know, one's been out of football, one's 43. Am I right?
Well, that's obviously where I'm at on this. Now, I think Gronk can be a Pro Bowl tight end this year. I think the year off will be good for him. I think it's over for Brady. But I'm not going to, listen, Patriot fans, and we have an avatar for one on this show in Kevin Wildes, you've got to pick a side on this. This idea of, draft Randy Moss's kid, and that's going to make that's nonsense. And if there's a little anger in my voice, it's a little bit because of the Sharpie stuff, but it's also because the argument makes no sense. Listen, you cannot come on this show and say, I think the Bucs are going to be great. I think Brady's going to be awesome. I think that no risk it, no biscuit with Bruce Arians, it's going to be fantastic. And then also say, believe in Belichick. If Brady's awesome, Gronk has a lot of football left along with Brady, then Belichick was wrong. This is not Manning to Luck, Favre to Rodgers, Montana to Young. It's the greatest quarterback ever to Stidham or Hoyer or Jordan Love or whomever they draft this weekend, or possibly tonight, if not tomorrow. There is no middle ground here. One of these parties, it will either be Belichick was right and I'm right, that Brady's washed, or Bill Belichick prematurely moved on from the greatest quarterback in the history of the league, one of the greatest tight ends in the history of the league, when they were 1 year removed from winning the Super Bowl. It's not like they've been out in the wilderness for a decade and then all of a sudden they'd have a comeback year. 15 months ago, they won the Super Bowl. A year before that, they were in it. A year before that, they won it. To move on then if it turns out to be premature Wildes, it is a massive, massive unforced error that the fans, the coaches, and the players on the team didn't want him to make. I don't see, Kevin, how there could be a middle ground here. If Brady's still good, this was a huge mistake by Belichick.
Well, I think, Nick, I still think the Patriots are going to be good. I think we could go 11-5. I think we could go 10-6. I don't know, 12-4. I think we're going to be way over. I think Vegas has got us at 9.5. I think we're going to be way over that. So I don't really care what the Bucs do, to be totally honest. I'm not worried about the Bucs. I think this is there's another big trade that happened when the Red Sox claimed they were poor and traded Mookie Betts. That was an absolute disaster. And it was indefensible, and no one could come up with any reason why the Red Sox were doing it other than the fact they were being cheap. Belichick can simply say, like, hey, we won 6 Super Bowls. The guy's 43. We're going to move on. And everyone said, like, that's okay. Greg, I think Belichick is in the right here. I'm rooting for Brady and Gronk. I think both things can happen. I think both teams can be good, and Belichick still comes out of this a winner.
Yeah, Wildes, I'm with you. I don't think that there has to be this big fall off or washed experience from Tom Brady or Rob Gronkowski for Belichick to say, I won. He just needs his guys and within his organization in that locker room to stick to the course and stick to the plan and execute it, period. That's what he's always preached. Do your